It's December 23rd, exactly 11 years since this happened. We had the genius Lanny Poffo on, and kind of whimsically, we ended up with him reciting How the Grinch Stole Christmas entirely from memory. So if you weren't around back then, please excuse the audio quality, but enjoy this, and Merry Christmas. Yes, I said Merry Christmas from your friends right here at the Wrestling Epicenter.
Every who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot, but the Grinch who lived just north of Whoville did not. The Grinch hated Christmas the whole Christmas season. Now please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on quite right. It could be perhaps that his shoes were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all could have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve hating the Whos, staring down from his cave with a sour, Grinchy frown toward the homes where the Whos lay a snooze in their town. For he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging a holly Who leaf. And they're hanging their stockings, he snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow is Christmas. It's practically here. He growled with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming. I must find a way to keep Christmas from coming. For tomorrow I know all those Who girls and boys will wake bright and early and rush for their toys. And then, oh, the noise, noise, noise. If there's one thing I hate, it's noise, noise. And the Whos, down young and old, will sit down to a feast. And they'll feast, and they'll feast, and they'll feast. They'll start on Who pudding and rare Who roast beef. Blah. Roast beef is a feast I can't stand in the least. And then they'll do something I hate most of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, will stand close together with Christmas bells a-ringing. They'll stand holding hands, and those Whos will start singing. And they'll sing, and they'll sing, and they'll sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas thing, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years I've put up with it now. I gotta stop Christmas from coming. But how? Then he got an idea. An awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what I'll do, the Grinch laughed in his throat. And he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat. And he chuckled and clucked. What a great Grinchy trick. With his coat and this hat, I look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer, the Grinch looked around, but since reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found. Did that stop the Grinch? No, the Grinch quickly said. If I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his dog Max, and he got some red thread, and he tied a big horn to the top of his head. And he got some old bags and some empty old sacks on a ramshackle sleigh, and he hitched up old Max. And the Grinch said, "Giddy up!" And the sleigh started down toward the homes where the Whos lay a snooze in their town. Other windows were dark. Quiet snow filled the air. The Whos were all dreaming sweet dreams without care when he came to the first little house on the square. This is stop number 1, the old Grinchy Claus hissed. And he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist. And he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch. But if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once for a moment or two. Then he stuck out his head through the fireplace through, where the little Who stockings hung neat in a row. These stockings, he grinched, are the first things to go. Then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant around the whole room, and he took every present. How's it start? Wait a second, I'm sorry. Pop guns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorn, corn and plum. He shoved them in bags, and the Grinch very nimbly shoved every bag one by one up the chimney. Then he went to the icebox. He eyed the Who's feast. He stole the Who pudding. He stole the roast beef. He cleaned up the icebox as quick as a flash. Why, that Grinch even stole their last can of Who hash. He shoved the Who's feast up the chimney with glee, and then grinned the Grinch, I will step up the tree. The Grinch grabbed the tree, and he started to shove, when he heard a small sound like the coo of a dove. He turned around fast, and he saw a small Who, little Cindy Lou Who was no more than 2. The Grinch had been caught by this tiny Who daughter, who got out of bed for a cup of cold water. She stared at the Grinch and said, Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why? But you know that old Grinch was so smart and so slick. He thought up a lie, and he thought it up quick. Why, my sweet little tot, the fake Santa Claus lied. There's a light in this tree that won't light on one side. So I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there, and I'll bring it back here. And this did fool the child, and he patted her head, and he got her a drink, and he sent her to bed. But when Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went to the chimney and shoved the tree up. And the last thing he took was a log for their fire. Then he went up the chimney himself, the old liar. On the walls, he left nothing but hooks and some wire, and the one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Then he did the same things to the other Who's houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses. It was 1/4 dawn. All the Who's still in bed, all the Who's still asleep, when he packed up his sled. Packed up the presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, the taggings and the tinsel, the trimmings, the trappings. 3,000 feet up the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode with his load to the tip-top to dump it. Pooh-pooh to the Who's he was grinchiously humming. They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up, I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a moment or two. Then the Who's down in Whoville will all cry, boo-hoo. That's the noise, grinned the Grinch, that I simply must hear. Then he paused, and the Grinch put his hand to his ear. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. You really are a heel. You're as cuddly as a cactus. You're as charming as an eel. Mr. Grinch, you're a bad banana with a greasy black peel. You're a rotter, Mr. Grinch. You're a skanky, wanky skunk. The 3 words which best describe you are as follows, and I quote, stink, stank, stunk. But he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started out low, and it started to grow. But this sound wasn't sad. No, this sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry, merry. He stared down at Whoville, the Grinch popped his eyes, and he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. He stood with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow. He puzzled and puzzled. How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. He puzzled and puzzled till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, he thought, means a little bit more. And what happened next? Well, in Whoville, they say, that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the moment his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his sleigh through the bright morning light. He brought back the toys and the food for the feast. And then he himself, the Grinch carved the roast beef. Thank you.
Oh, wow, that's tremendous.
Thank you. And I never did it over the phone before, but I used to do it for my daughter. And she said, read me a story. I said, what do you want to hear, honey? She says, The Grinch. I said, it's July. She doesn't care. She wants to hear it.
Yes.
Now she's going to be 20.
If you want to conquer something, you must be ready for war.
This is insane. Lucha Underground is out of this world. I've never seen anything like this.
Lucha Underground Season 3. New episode Wednesday at 8 p.m. on...
Hey, this is the Macho Man, Randy Savage, and you're listening to the Interactive Interview. Oh, yeah.